we are going to discuss nutrition in animals. In the previous class, we discussed nutrition in plants, whereas how these plants are going to prepare their food, and there are some organisms, they are depending on those plants, right? Therefore, in the previous chapter, we discussed that organisms which are preparing their own food are known as autotrophs, and the organisms which are dependent their food on others, those are known as heterotrophs. And also, some plants were there, they are depending on the other plants. That is what the which plant is giving shelter and the support to the other plant, that we used to say that host plant. And which is depend on that host is known as parasite history. And some plants are there where they are for their feed, they are depend on the insects, right? That plant is, we used to say that insectivorous plants. They depend on those insects. They used to attract those prey, that is insects, and later they are going to kill those, and the nutritions of those insects are going to be taken by those plants. That is what insectivores. And parasite, and another some organisms which are depend on the dead organisms and decay organisms, those are saprotrophs. These are all what we studied in nutrition in plants. And today, children, we are going to discuss nutrition in animals. How the animals are going to take nutrition from food. So our chapter is what? Nutrition in animals. Nutrition in animals. Children, every day we are taking food, different varieties of food we are eating, right? Different varieties of food we are eating, and with that food we are consuming the different nutrients. Okay, let me know what are these nutrients, where these are, right? These are present in whatever the food we are consuming, right? Whatever food we are eating every day. So here, what are these nutrients? Usually, the components of foods are called nutrients, right? Components of food items. Then what are these components? Right? Here, let us discuss those components. I think you all know that. What are those components? Let us discuss one by one. That is carbohydrates, then proteins, fats, then vitamins, minerals. Along with these, another two components are there, very important for our food. Whatever we are getting food. What are those? Fibers. And then water. Right? Our food items are consist of these all components. These components are food item, what we used to say that nutrients, right? But here, animal nutrition include nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food, and its utilization in the body. here how the animals are taking the food and what the mode of that intake of the food, what is the utilization of food, whatever the it is eaten, right? Every day morning we are going to take a breakfast, and afternoon we are going to take lunch, and evening snacks, and then tea and dinner. So here we are taking at least minimum 3 times we are going to have food. Right? These food items, whether whatever we are eating food, what are the way of we are eating? Okay, all the human beings are eating. What all the organisms we are using? The hand to take the food, and to chew we are putting that bite into our mouth, and in our mouth it is going to be chewing. By the chewing, that food is going to be cutting in small, then later some processes is going to carry on. Then there are some insects are there, birds are there, right? How they are going to take these food, how they are consuming the food from the environment, and how these nutrients are going to be involved in their food. These all we are going to study in this chapter, that is nutrition in nutrition in animals. Here, our food consists of many components. Those components we have written here: carbohydrate, protein, fats, vitamin, minerals, fibers, and water. These all components helps us to grow our body, for our well growth and our strength, and also they protect us from diseases, right? And even if the substance whatever we taken as a food, if they didn't simplify, okay, if they didn't digest properly, then that waste material is also thrown out from our body. So here, like this, a systematic procedure, systematic organisms are there where they are going to perform their function. All organisms are a group of organisms, or group of organelle is organism, and that group of organelle, they are performing a particular functions, and that's the reason we are getting strength, and we are getting interest to do work, and we are responding whatever we are getting from our surrounding, we are responding with those surrounding informations. We are going to discuss the nutrition in animals. Okay, next point, the components of food such as carbohydrates are complex. Next we will discuss one by one here. Especially carbohydrates, these are very complex food. Okay, carbohydrates are what? Complex food or complex substance. Carbohydrates are complex. Write down here, are complex. Carbohydrates are complex substance. Carbohydrates are complex substance. They cannot be utilized as such. So whatever we have taken, it is not utilized in that such way. Then how it is going to utilize? It is going to break down into a simpler substance. Therefore, complex substance, that's why cannot be, that's why cannot be utilized, cannot be utilized as such. Then how it can be utilized? So they are broken down into simpler substance. So they are broken down. So they are broken down into simpler substance. Into simpler substance. Understood, children? Here we are going to discuss only one carbohydrate compound is considered. What is that carbohydrate compound? Carbohydrate. We are eating that rice wherein starch are present. Okay, almost all carbohydrates we are getting the energy to our body. But in carbohydrates, which substance we are getting more? Sugar and starch come. Okay, sugar and starch is maximum present in the carbohydrate food like potatoes, rice. These are some few examples for the carbohydrates. Which substance have maximum sugar content and starch? Those all food items are classified as carbohydrates. And here, these carbohydrates cannot be taken as it is because these are strongly bonded. Those particles are. It is not possible to get in a simpler. That's the reason carbohydrates are complex. And what it is going to do then? That is going to break down. How it is going to break down? The food, whatever we are eating, those are going to help by the help of our saliva juice and other things which are helping us for to break down that food items to get in a simpler substances. Okay. Then next, the breakdown of complex components of food into simpler substance is called digestion. Right? What is that? The next point is what? Breakdown of. I told you. However, it is not utilized in such. How it is present, it is not possible to take as it is. Then what to do? That is going to be broken down into a simpler substance. Which food item, whatever the nutrition they are consuming as a food, it is going to be break down into a simpler form. That breakdown simpler form is what is known as digestion. Yes, let's break down that. The breakdown of complex compounds of food. The breakdown of complex food into simpler form, into simpler substance is called what is that what is that? It's called digestion. What it is called? Called digestion. It's called digestion. Right? Okay. Now we move to that. One chart is there how the different kind of animals are going to consume. What kind of the mode of the food consuming and how they are. Right? What type of food they are going to consume and in what way. That we are going to discuss now with the chart. I am going to show you now the PDF. Just go through that PDF. Okay. Yes, children. So here different kinds of organisms, animals are given. What are those? See here, the first, that is snail. Okay, yes. Look at this chart. Various mode of feeding. How these animals are going to feed their food. In that first one, snail. What is the kind of food? Do you know? What is the kind of food of snail? Snail, the kind of food is leaves and insect. Children, just you take down this table, make a column there. In that first, name of animal and kind of food, mode of feeding. The three columns. And here, the first one, first animal is taken as snail. What is the kind of food? Snail is leaves and small insects. Leaves and small insects. Then what is the mode of that? Scraping. Below words are given. See here. Scraping. S-C-R-A-P-I-N-G. Scraping. The snail kind of food is leaves and small insects, and mode of feeding is scraping. Then second one, ant. What is the kind of food? Ant? All food particles, right? Ants are going to eat almost all food particles. Then what is the mode of ant? How it is going to take those food? What is the mode of feeding here? It is chewing, right? And the mode of feeding is chewing. Then eagle, kind of food, small animals, all type of any small animals is the kind of food for eagle. And how these eagles are feeding those food? They are capturing and swallowing. Capturing and swallowing. Then hummingbird. Hummingbird. The kind of food is what? The kind of food is what? Already we have discussed this one previous. Nectars flowers, right? What is that? Nectars of flowers. Those are what we used to say that this hummingbird, the kind of food is nectars of flowers. Then mode is what? Sucking. Mode of the food feeding is what? It is sucking. Then leaves. What is the kind of food here? Blood. And these are also the mode of feeding is sucking. They also suck the blood, right? Then mosquitoes. Kind of food is blood and the mode of feeding is also sucking. Then butterfly. Same, what are the bees, the hummingbird we studied, butterfly also. The kind of food of butterfly is also nectars of flowers, right? All the fragrance they are going to, when the flowers get blossoms, these butterflies and some hummingbirds, you can see that the hummingbird beak will be very strong, small and large, right? They used to suck the nectars of flowers. Butterfly, but here the butterfly, the mode of feeding is siphoning. The mode of feeding is what? It is siphoning. Then housefly. Housefly, the kind of food is almost everything. Housefly food is what? Everything. We can find it is be there in everywhere and in all the food items, right? So all kind of, almost all, everything or all kind of food. And the mode of feeding of housefly is also siphoning. See here children, while pronouncing, remember scraping, scraping and chewing. Even we also, the mode of feeding is what? How we are eating the food? We are chewing this food. So even human beings also, the mode of feeding is chewing. Then siphoning, both the plants. siphoning. 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 And then capturing and swallowing. Even snakes also, almost all python and all those animals are directly they swallow. They capture, and they swallow. Then sponging and sucking, etc. Right? These are the different mode of feeding of different kinds of animals. Okay? Yes. So here, different ways of taking food. That is what we studied now. And animal nutrition includes nutrient requirement and mode of intake of food and its utilization in the body. Why it is? Because look at the chip. Plants are not moving from here to there. They are producing their food for themselves as well as for others. That's the reason they are autotroph. But here, animals need nutrition. Then what type of nutrition they require? All animals are not getting the same type of nutrition for their survival, and all animals are not following the mode of intake of food. The different animals have a different mode of intake. Already we discussed the different animals. Few we have considered here, right? And whatever the nutritions are intaken, whatever the nutritions from the food is taken, in what sense that nutrition is going to utilize? That is very important in the animals, because this animal or the growth is required. They require food for growth and require functioning of the body. Whatever our function, there are different functions are there in our body. Respiratory function is there, digestion function is there, circulatory function is there. These all require the energy. But whatever we eating food, for example, chapati and vegetable, if we eat any vegetable curry, right? Then how that vegetable curry and that chapati is converted into a energy? How that energy is utilized for further function of our body? Like this, we are going to discuss now in this chapter. I told you carbohydrates are complex compounds. Look at that complex structure. How they are in the complex structure? See here, the continuous chain is there. The particles continuous chain. So that continuous chain, when it is broken down, then they are going to loosely bonded. See here. Then now they are not in bond. They are loosely bonded. Now it says that it becomes in a simpler substance. The same way, children, whatever we are, the animals are consuming food, almost all animals except single cell animals. Whereas in there also, that only cell is going to perform all the function of that organism. But we are multicellular organism. We have different group of cells and tissues and number of organelles. They are making a group. They are performing their own functions. They are performing their own functions, right? With mutual understanding there. How? See here, from the nail we are inhaling the air from the atmosphere, and that wind pipe, okay, whatever you have taken air, I am not going to pass. No, it is doing. So here, the coordination is there between all these organisms. Automatically, no one is going to tell that, okay, nose, you just inhale the air, and next send into that windpipe and then lungs and bronchi. No, they are with the coordination, they are performing their function. In the same way, the hand will take a bite and it will keep on your mouth and your teeth. No, I'm not ready to chew the food. If the teeth says, then what will go? How can we chew that food? It's not possible, right? That teeth is going to chew that food in a small particles, and then that food will move to with the help of food pipe, and later it is going to digest. So here, children, we are going to discuss that the whatever the food we are going to consume, when this complex food is break down into a simpler food substance, that is what we used to say that digestion. Yes. The food into, see, the breakdown of complex components of food into simpler substance is called digestion. Right? Next. See, the one more important amazing fact. What is that amazing fact here? Starfish feed on animals covered by hard shells of calcium carbonate. We can say that the snails are there. Okay, they have covered, and crabs. Okay, they have covered the hard shell with the animals which are covered by the hard shells, and uh, shells of calcium carbonate. After opening the shell, so what happens once they open their shell? The starfish pops out its stomach through its mouth to eat the soft animal inside the shell. The stomach then goes back into the body, and the food is slowly digested. It is going to pop up that animal once they comes out from that hard shell. If just that hard shell get open, okay, then the starfish pops out with its stomach. That stomach will pops out, and through its mouth it's eat that soft animal, and after that slowly it is going to be digest. But in human body it is, we what all the organisms are going to participate, what are the organelles are going to participate to digest the food in a human body, that is what digestion in human, right? Digestion in human. Now we are going to discuss digestion in human. So here children, the digestion takes place. The food, whatever we eat, that food passes through a continuous canal which begins at the buccal cavity and ends at the anus. Just look at this diagram. See here. The different parts are given here. Right? So, what is that first? Buccal cavity, salivary glands, esophagus, liver, gallbladder, stomach, pancreas, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. These are the different organelles. Organelles means what? See, first, usually, if we are using organism, it is a systematic arrangement of the group of cells makes tissue, okay, and those cells, the group, how that group is going to form, we see here. If I am going to make my group, how I am going to make my group? I am thinking that the person which is same minded, right, and which we are going to be comfortable. But here in cells, how they are going to make a group? The cells which have same structure and their function we see, those cells are going to form a group, and that group of cells are known as tissue. And next, number of tissues are going to form a one organ, and that number of organs are going to make a organism. So here these all are organs. What is stomach is organ, pancreas is organ, small intestine, large intestine, rectum. These are liver. These all are organs. With the help of these group of organs, the organism is we are going to say the next is the group of organs is organism. So children, now we are going to discuss how the food is going to digest in a human body. So first, what happens? The food is going to pass through that canal, that cavity, buccal cavity, and then food pipe or esophagus, then stomach and small intestine, then large intestine. And later, if the food which is undigested, that food will pass to that rectum and later it will move, get out from that. And so it is not, these parts together form the alimentary canal or digestive tract. The whole, this whatever we studied from how many steps? 5 or 6 organs. All these 6 organs are participating for the digestion of food. That complete the path, we used to say that alimentary canal or digestive tract. See here, alimentary canal or digestive tract. Okay, so here the food components gradually get decreased as food travels, get digested as food travels through the various components. Then the inner walls of the stomach and the small intestine and the various glands associated with the canal such as salivary glands and the liver and the pancreas. They secrete digestive juice. With the help of that digestive juice, the complex food is converted into a simpler one. Then the digestive tract and the associated glands together constitute the digestive system. Then what are the different parts? So here it is just this glands look of the digestive. Now we'll discuss how each part is going to participate for digesting food, complex food item into simpler form. One by one we are going to discuss. What is that alimentary canal? What are the organs are there? Buccal cavity, food pipe or esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. Okay, so here each one, how this buccal cavity is going to help to convert complex to the simpler food, or how it is going to participate in the digestive system, we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, children? Yes. Yes. Do you have